Hi everybody, this is Angel from Halo Inspirations. I am so super excited that you're here, so welcome, welcome, welcome. Today's video is on the topic of prepping fabric. And before I get started by hitting the magic button in my video and showing you the ironing board and the fabric and and the method that I use to prep my fabric, I just want to talk about a couple of things first. First, I want to say that this is my method. There are a bazillion, million, gillion methods out there within quilting on various topics, and each one is valid and each one is real and rich in information. So I encourage you to go out and take a look at other people's things and really take in the methods and why they're doing them, because something just might click. It's like when you're in high school and you're learning Algebra 1. Teacher sits down, you're in class, you're learning the method on how to solve this problem, and you go through that for a couple weeks. You do it the same way every time, come to the right answers. Man, you're on it. A few weeks later, she shows you another method. And you're like, man, you do it and you're just not getting it. It's just not there. But your BFF next to you, yeah, she's all over this. So both of you are presented with the same problem. Have two different methods to solve that problem, but you're coming to the same results. And quilting is exactly the same way. There are various challenges, various things you can do, different methods, and each one is right. And you're all coming to the same results. So I just want to put that out there, that I encourage you to learn as much as you can about different people's perspectives, because what may click for you, you would have never guessed. It just takes that one light bulb, right? The other thing I wanted to talk about is related to prepping fabric. And that is for the good old debate of pre-washing fabric. I personally do not pre-wash my fabric. I have yet to be burned. I'm sure it's going to happen. And the first time it might make me cry, but unless it becomes a pattern of a problem, I'm just not going to tackle that. I just don't pre-wash. But there are a couple really good justified reasons on why you would. I mean, they're completely valid. So one of the main reasons that I hear people pre-wash is because of shrinkage. Yep, it's 100% cotton. Quilting fabric is 100% cotton. It's kind of like when you buy that t-shirt. You go on vacation, you buy this great t-shirt, you take it home, you wash it, you wear it once a week, you wash it. 6 months later, that same t-shirt can fit a 6-year-old. Same concept. There's going to be shrinkage. So the idea is that you go ahead and you wash it to pre-shrink it so that in the end result, the quilt doesn't become distorted or you have other types of problems or challenges that you face, and it just kind of prevents that. The second big reason, or one of the biggest reasons that I hear, is for bleeding. So you buy this really red, rich fabric or that deep blue indigo fabric, and you mix it up with an off-white or a white, and you cut up your fabric, you sew all your blocks, you get this quilt done, you get it quilted, you get it bound, you need to wash it, throw it in, pull it out of the dryer, and your white is now pink. Same concept when you pre-wash your fabric, is that it gets rid of that challenge that you may face later and get rid of the most of that bleeding. And there are methods and people, who do pre-wash for this purpose. They've got really good insight and instruction on how and what to look for and when to know when you're good to go. I, again, knock on wood, haven't been burned yet, although I've seen plenty of evidence out there. I think I've just gotten really lucky. Like I said, the first time it happens, I might cry. I'll work with it, but unless it becomes a problem for me, I'm just not going to pre-wash. I'm not the pre-wash girl. So I do prep my fabric though. We get it from the quilting store, or we buy it online, and it comes, and I don't know how much you can see, but you've got wrinkles in there. It's all folded up, and just comes like so. So you want to get it prepped. The reason you want to do this is because getting those wrinkles out, getting those folds out, really getting that fabric stiff and stable is going to encourage an more accurate cut. The more accurate your cut is, the better off your block sizes, and it's going to eliminate those wonky blocks, shapes, and eventually the whole quilt, because it just takes a little bit and it goes a long ways. So you really, really, truly want to get that stiff, stable, wrinkle-free, folded-free fabric to get that cut accurate. So let's get started. Okay, here we are through the magic of video. We are standing here at my ironing board, getting ready to prep this fabric. And the first thing you want to do is you want to take your fabric and you want to lay it out on top of your pressing board or your ironing board. You're going to need an ironing board because we're going to be using a hot iron and you want to protect those surfaces. So you want to lay this fabric out on top of your ironing board or your pressing board, nice and flat, and you want it to be facing the right side up. Now, for those of you that are new, the right side is the pretty side. The wrong side is the not so pretty side. So you want to make sure you lay this out nice and flat with the right side facing up. And as you can see, this has really got some good fold creases in it. It does have a little bit of wrinkling. So we're going to take the time now to really prep this fabric. So the first thing you did was you laid it all out, got the right side up, then you're going to grab your starch and you're going to go ahead and really saturate that fabric. Okay? Then what you're going to want to do is you want to really massage that starch into that fabric. Really get it going in there. Some people actually take the fabric and they bunch it up. Like literally, like they bunch it all up, really working that starch into the fabric. And it's important that you do that because we really want to penetrate it. Get that starch just really in there. I don't use that bunching method. This is the method that I use. Okay. And so here we go. All right, now because I use the ironing board, when I'm done with that section, I just move it all up. And again, hit it up with some starch here. Now, some people are against using any kind of starch. They're worried that it will, in fact, attract bugs. Well, I have a couple of thoughts on that. First and foremost, this is 100% cotton that I'm quilting with, and bugs love cotton. Second of all, when you are done with making your quilt and it's bounded and you're ready to wash it, you're going to wash away, when you throw it in there, it will wash away the starch. So if you're getting bugs, it's not the starch. They're being attracted by the cotton. And that's just my opinion, but there we go. Boy, look at this one. Yep, this is going to be some work. So you just want to go through this, get it all nice and massaged in, and get that starch really going. Get it deep in there. Get it massaged in there. Really work that starch into those fibers. Okay. All right, I think I got one more section here. And I won't bore you the whole time getting my fabric prepped. I just want to take the time to really show you my method of prepping this fabric and getting rid of some of those folds and creases and wrinkles. And the other thing this starch is going to do, like especially if you're working it into those fibers, it's going to, again, really stabilize and make this fabric more stiff. And by doing that, you're really going to make it easier for you to have a more accurate cut. Oh, there we go. Now, once you get the whole area done and you really get it worked in there, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to turn it over to the wrong side of the fabric. And my iron might not be hot yet, but I just flipped it to, it's got a timer on it. So we're going to flip it now over to the wrong side of the fabric. Get it nice and flat. Once again, I might need some more starch on this. I can feel it. Okay. And you want to take your iron and you want to start ironing. Maybe ironing wasn't the right word. To be honest with you, the preferred method is to press. And what that means is that you set your iron down and you just hold it there and you let that heat penetrate, and then you go to the next section. But I got to tell you that ever since I've learned to iron, I have learned to do it this way, and I just can't break this habit. The idea behind pressing instead of ironing is so that you don't distort the shape of the fabric, which again then may in turn make it so that you have wonky blocks in the end, or your lines aren't straight. You know, you go to cut strips of fabric and it's just not going to be straight. But I have yet to have any problems with it. And like I told y'all before, if I don't see a pattern of a problem, I just don't address it. So I can't help it. I iron. Now the reason that we do this from the wrong side, you know, you took it and you applied the starch on the right side, and then we flip it over and then we're ironing on the wrong side. And the reason that we do it that way is because by putting it on the iron on the wrong side, what we are doing is that we are pulling in that starch. We're really pulling it in from the other side of the fabric and allowing that starch to really penetrate into those fibers. Now, another thing I notice is that some people are really afraid to use starch. They say that it causes some flaking or some residue that they find on their iron, and they just get really frustrated with it. But I gotta tell you, I have not experienced that, and a lot of the time it's because they're really not using the starch correctly. So, there we go. Now, like I said, I'm not going to bore you through this whole thing of you watching me prep my fabric here with some starch. So, I will get back to you. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. Oh, and you can already tell, I mean, these wrinkles and these creases are really coming out. I just love it. I just love a really good, strong starch that just really helps with getting rid of those wrinkles and those creases. I mean, you just really want it to be just as flat as you can get it and as stiff as you can get it. Now, sometimes these creases or these wrinkles are really penetrating, and they're very hard to get out with the first round. What you might want to do then is, once you've really taken the time on the one side, if you're still finding that you have a lot of creases, you may not have used enough starch and really got it in. That is true. And if you really want it stiff, though, you can, once you're finished with this side and it's dry and it's, you've done your job the first round, you may want to spray it then on the wrong side again, really working it in and massaging it, and then turn it around, flip it over, and iron it from the right side. So doing it a couple of times, it might be necessary, but I mean, if you can't see that, I mean, it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I wish you could feel it. It's definitely a lot more stiff, and I'm just really excited to get my blade on this because this is going to be wonderful. So again, it's really important that you take the time to prep your fabric. It's going to help you really get a more accurate cut, and in the long run you're going to be a lot less frustrated with your quilting. All right, I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so there's my method on how to prep your fabric to get that strong, stiff, stable, unwrinkled, uncreased, unfolded, really a great start to helping you get more accurate cuts. That's the whole purpose behind prepping that fabric. A couple of things I'd like to mention about prepping fabric. First and foremost, don't be afraid of the starch. Go ahead and saturate your material. Go ahead and make sure you work it in there. And when you iron using that iron until that fabric is dry. It's very important that you don't keep going without making sure that what you have started to iron into, that you need to wait until that fabric is dry. Okay. The other thing related to starch, if you're working with small pieces or small strips, you really do want that stiffness. It's even more important to keep that stable because they're so small. So go ahead, and that's one of the times that you want to go ahead and do it twice, for sure. I talked about that earlier, when some of the times that you may want to do it a double time. That is one of them, when you're working with those small size strips or pieces. It will really help make a better success for you. The other thing I'd like to mention, and this is related to your iron, whatever material you're using, you want to make sure that you have it on the correct setting on your iron for that material. So for instance, I was working with 100% cotton, so my iron was set to the cotton setting. Anything too low, it's either not going to be very helpful, it's not going to get those wrinkles out, it's not going to get those creases out, it's going to take you forever. Anything too hot, you might melt or burn very easily any kind of fabric. So whatever fabric you're working on, make sure that you have your iron set for that material. There again, it will help you be more successful. If you're new to quilting, welcome, by the way. I'm celebrating that you have taken on the journey with us all. It's a wonderful, wonderful industry with a very good, supportive people that are inside quilting, and it's just unlike anything. So I welcome you, and I celebrate the idea that you're here with us. But I can remember when I very first started thinking about quilting, there's a lot of stuff. And I didn't know what I actually needed, what I didn't need. If I needed to spend $5,000 on a machine, I had no idea really where to get going. So this freebie that I have created, it's a document, and it goes from everywhere from the machine down to the fabric. And I talk about those essentials, the essentials that are going to lead to less frustrations, and it's going to lead to more enjoyment with better success. And I keep that budget in mind. That to me is very important. Those are the things that you really, really do need to get started or inside that document. So all you have to do is go to www.haloinspired.com and click the link for it. Just provide your name and email address, and I'll send it straight to your inbox for you. It's my gift because I really hope that you find this completely enjoyable and very successful. So that's where the beginning starts, is what do you need? The other thing I've done, a little bonus here, when I'm out and about with groups, or I go to a guild meeting or to a bee or anything where I've got all these different various levels of quilters, it's interesting that there's a lot of these acronyms and sewing terms, and not a day goes by when a new quilter will be like, I don't know, what's a UFO? What are we talking about? Flying saucers? What's a whip? What's the right side? What's the wrong side? What's a walk? So I've created this document to assist you in navigating the language of the quilting industry. And again, this too is free for you, completely free. Just go to the website and click the link and we'll get it to you in that inbox. Thank you all for stopping by. Next week, we're going to go over cutting fabric. The second step to having a really successful enjoyment time in your quilting. So we'll tackle that next week. If you liked this video, please like, share, subscribe, and we will see you in the future. And until next time, may you continue to be inspired, productive, and joyful, and never stop making those dreams in quilting come true. Bye-bye for now, guys. Happy quilting.